There have been two champions he's really popped off on. Aatrox is the one, Poppy is the other, and I've liked the Aatrox more, so he is set up for success here.
Let me throw you a nickname here. Is it cool if I call Dhokla Big Dokes?
Big Dokes, I'm about it.
Do you think that he's cool with it?
Yes.
I'll have to pass it by him first.
Twitch
maybe.
chat, Big Dokes with a PogChamp or a...
When he gets big dunks with Aatrox, I feel it is correct. It is going to be an Ezreal lock-in on the side of Golden Guardians, though, with FBI. Once again, they have a really high priority on the Ezreal for him especially. It gives him a lot of autonomy in the bottom lane and also can allow Huhi to go for roams.
Yeah, one of his strengths. Safe under turret, not too hard for the Ezreal here. Tom Kench might be coming through, but right now it's Gangplank as the answer to Aatrox here, expecting both of those as top laners. I like the York cover. Mia's looking over. I know he and Dhokla are good friends, and he's like, hey, remember this champion that we never ganked for you on?
I feel like most people are pretty good friends with meteos.
Yeah.
Fairly friendly fellow. Let's see, though. I doubt it's going to be a York lock-in. I have York jungled quite a few times. But it's not going to be the case. Sivir!
No way! They didn't rush pick the Yorick jungle. Sivir, of course, very strong as well. Lots of teams, as you'd mentioned earlier, a high priority on Ezreal. FBI and Golden Guardians, no different. Sivir, I like a lot. Very good late-game damage output.
Yeah, and I really like it against Ezreal specifically. I mean, I don't play a bunch of AD carry, but when I get auto-filled, if I'm against Ezreal, spell shielding the ultimates, spell shielding most of the Qs, too. You know, even I can react to those ones, so... it definitely feels like a good matchup for Sivir to be able to farm up. You definitely outscale when you get a bunch of crits super late game. Ezreal, though, burst damage, not to be underestimated, especially the mid-game spike. You have to be really, really cognizant if the Ezreal is hitting those skill shots.
Well, of note, I believe Sejuani unbanned so far in this draft and not picked up at all. She's been such a high-prize jungler, but this time around, they're going to wait a little while. Braum I like a lot, very good into Sivir. You break the Ricochet, you break the Boomerang Blade, you really cut her damage down a lot, so I think that's always important to do here, but it means that now you can really pinch the jungle pool, as OpTic did rush their Jarvan before that happened. One thing to also point out is that GGS will get counterpick on both solo lanes. The first pick Aatrox, answered by the Gangplank, and OpTic will have to grab their last champion before Golden Guardians have to pick Froggens. It's just they're going to lose some jungle pool.
Let's see. Golden Guardians have really loved this Tristana solo lane for both Hauntzer and Froggen. See if the bans even target it, or if OpTic are unconcerned with that pick. So far, Sejuani finds her way into this game eventually. Phreak banned away along with some other tanky champions here. No hard engage for Big with the Nautilus. That's a really difficult one with the point and click to deal with. Even for something like Braum, you can't, shove your unbreakable shield underground and try to break the depth charge. So that's one of the few things that can get past him.
And you're going to see a lot of champions banned out of Big's pool. His most played, Nautilus with 7. That one's gone. Yumi, Thresh dropped off as well. And Lux, so Nerf not going to play here either. So whatever he plays, it'll be first time or only the second time all split, as Olaf joins the jungle bans at Contractz here. One of his more played champions here as well. So the hover is now Lee Sin, which would be really exciting.
Definitely would be. We won't hold our breath, though. Let's see. All right, Phreak is going to hold his breath. He's having it at home. Didn't have to be that long, so thankfully here, he's not going to strain anything. Contractz on Lee Sin. This is so dangerous. I really like junglers that take a lot of risks, and Contractz takes that to a 10. Let's see if he can do it with Lee Sin. Lee Sin, thankfully, does have a lot of options. Mobility is the highest stat on this champion, basically. We'll see if we can create those plays. Another Bard for the day. Will we get another Volibear for the day? I very much doubt it, but the Bard. The Bard, we kind of went over in the previous game where we saw the Bard, but got a lot of, healthy bonuses to the starting stats, basically. Health and health regen just makes it very aggressive. Bard goes in looking for trades.
And of course, the Draven hover that so often Arrow does like to play, but it gets banned out. And Taliyah coming back into the mid lane. Just saw it from Niski coming back here already as Huhi hovers his trademark champion, Varillion Soul.
And OpTic liked what they saw with that Cloud9 team composition. The roaming early on from Niski, so effective for C9. And Crown thinks he can do it as well. I honestly think that OpTic have looked best when Crown has been roaming around the map, making plays. So very good last champion for him to lock in. And Froggen will have the DPS machine.
Corki all revved up and ready to go. It's going to be exciting for him. Of course, you talk about Crown. He has a long history of playing Taliyah. Think back to Samsung Galaxy when they won Worlds. A lot of Taliyah games, really what he was known for. Roaming to his side lanes, getting his teammates ahead. And now a bigger carry force here on OpTic. He's one of the more individual carry standouts. But back on Comfort here, it's going to be an exciting one.
Definitely so. And as I mentioned last game as well, if you have a jungler with a flash guarantee knockup, that does make it easier for Taliyah to land her seismic shove. It's not as potent with Jarvan, because if Jarvan flashes for his knockup, he doesn't land extra damage to your combo. So definitely a little bit more work going to be be done here by OpTic,
Right.
but they are facing a heavy poke composition from the side of Golden Guardians with the Ezreal Corki trying to scale up and poke, and then Gangplank barrels even I count as a form of poke. So Golden Guardians will be looking to scale it up and make it into playoffs. Last game, everything on the line for OpTic and Golden Guardians. They've got to lay it all out.
A year's worth of work, and the chance to go to Worlds rests on winning this game. The chance to win the LCS rests on this game, and fighting Counterlogic Gaming in the first round of the best of fives. You've got to win this one to claim 6th place and move on forward. The players loading onto the Rift soon as they step up, and you've got a couple of Samsung Galaxy skins actually loaded in on the one side. I like that a lot, paying homage to Crown's old team, World Championship winning squad. And we are loading into a pause, by the way, worth knowing. So with further ado, this game will eventually start.
All right, quick analysis of the early item purchases. Contractz has indeed gone with the Hunter's Machete. Interesting idea there from the jungler Phreak.
All right, well, we've got some time to fill, so Avli is standing by with Coach Zabutin.
Thanks, guys. Zab, you have had such a long day, both you and the team, starting the day, and now you have the final game, and everything comes down to this match after a year of missing playoffs just by this much for OpTic. So is this the split that OpTic makes it?
After this game, I will be able to answer, you know, it's like GGS work their asses off, we work our asses off. Like, even the last team in the league is still tryharding super hard, but sometimes you don't get the result. We had some hoopsies here and there, games that we should have won that didn't. This morning was very unfortunate. Like, the game was pretty much a scrim that you usually remake, but it was on stage, so you can't. And now we have to, like, win this game, but I feel like the guys' mentality is pretty good, and we're confident. No, it's, you know, it's just it's gonna be played by details. That's always how it is, you know, with the nerves. So let's hope that they have the right mindset. That's it.
And is there anything special that you said to your players before sending them off to the stage?
I don't have the right to say that on camera because it might be a little bit vulgar, but.
Okay, Zab, thank you. But best of luck to you and the team. Back to the casters.
Thanks very much, Avli. I'm going to say, go out there and give him a good fight.
Yeah, word for word.
Word for word.
I like it.
It was in French. It doesn't translate as well, you know. Yeah. I just hear like, that's why I yelled out from the audience. Yes, that's the exactly reason.
How many French swear words do you know, Phreak?
A lot, and a lot of them are really bad.
Oh, wow. I only know
That's
one.
part of the vocabulary
I
that's
only
safe.
know one, and it's not very bad
These
at all.
are the ones that you don't say on broadcast or in person. People are like, wow, you really meant that one. So we're not going to bother. But we are ready to go into this one. I am seeing, actually, I'm seeing the opposite of that. I'm seeing players quit out of the game. So we're going to be the opposite of getting into the Rift. We're going to be remaking the Rift as far as I can tell, as basically every player has left, and now my game is going to close as well. But soon enough, we will get ourselves back in.
Yeah, it was just a small error there. Froggen has the wrong rune in a game like this. You obviously cannot send someone in with a wrong rune. We have to have both teams optimal performance here. Everybody needs their fair chance to get into playoffs. There's too much riding on this.
Yep.
And Zab, so one of the things he talked on, since we have a while for the game remake here, he talked about the pressure of this game. You know, it's going to come down to the details and how well they can perform on stage. This game is actually full of veterans. We have so many players with very long histories in competitive League of Legends here. This is definitely going to be one of those moments where the high-pressure leadership is really tested. Froggen, the guy on your screen there, was playing competitive League of Legends before the LCS existed.
That's true.
CLG EU, playing in Korea as well. He has definitely traveled the world significantly and made this a very successful career.
Definitely the case here. So looking at this right now, of course, we are keeping these same picks in bands in this one. The draft on your screen right here. Champions reordered to the roles that they're in. And kind of taking a look down on this one, I mean, I think about the types of play you want to see out of each of these players. Look at Golden Guardians. Hauntzer has been an absolute standout. I would say the best performing member of the team. He got counterpick into his matchup. Gangplank scales very, very well in good matchups. His laning phase, really good also. He's got a really good early aggressive jungle with a Lee Sin on top of him as well. And even though he doesn't tend to get a lot of jungle pressure really from either side, he does tend to come out ahead in his matchups. And that is an avenue where I think GGS can definitely get a big lead. And as long as he is safe to split push farther down the line, I think back to his Tristana game where he had the lead and couldn't do that. I feel like he's set up well to take a carry performance. Meanwhile, again, you talk about Crown on the Taliyah at the very beginning of this draft, and I think that's another player who's going to, I think, really stand out here.
Yeah, Taliyah is a very, very important champion early on in the game, especially. Wave clear, you can push in the minion wave very quickly and go roam to those side lanes to help make plays. It's especially important to have good synergy with your jungler. And Meteos, another one of those veterans alongside Crown. With the Jarvan, those two looking to combine for a lot of OpTic success over this course of the summer split. That has definitely been true throughout their ups and downs. These two have definitely carried a lot of weight. And we expect it to be true in this game as well. Jarvan, by the way, one of the premier junglers on this patch, has moved up in the rankings with a couple of the recent nerfs to the competitors.
Just to keep you updated on the stage right now, we are halfway through the draft as 6 champs have been locked in and 7 have been banned. So pretty soon, we will get the rest of this graphic you see on your screen locked in on their computers, and we'll load back into the game and shouldn't have any issues anymore as we push ourselves forward to the final tiebreaker, to the 8th game of the day. It's almost 7 p.m. here in Los Angeles, and I know a lot of these teams have been here for a very long time. OpTic, I believe I heard, went home to refresh and then came back to battle the last 2 hours of their games, and hopefully they are ready to go and finish out this marathon.
Yeah, taking a break and a reset is definitely important throughout the day. I heard from Ovally that the Cloud9 players, actually half of them went and got haircuts between their last game and the tiebreaker game. So even, changing up the outfit, coming in with a fresh look.
Yep.
Could also change your attitude.
Definitely could be the case here. Final picks have been locked in, so the 40-second countdown timer ticking down, and then we load in. So very, very soon we get back into the game out of this one. And I do want to see what performances come out big on his first Bard game of the split. So many of his champs got banned away. 3 banned, 1 picked, 1 nerfed. And so he's down to the Bard here. I want to see how well he can do. Bard Q should have a favorable interaction with Braum's shield and, still get the stuns at least.
Yeah, and it's also very good against poke compositions. We mentioned what Golden Guardians are trying to do with their team. Bard ultimates can set you up for much easier flanks. Jarvan and Aatrox can have hard times sometimes, getting those hard engages onto Ezreal, Corki, Gangplank. Kind of difficult champions to get past a Braum onto, but if you land a good Bard ultimate, that can be game-changing to try and set things up. So we shall see if they can use it. And when you have a champion on your team that can create terrain, it also helps a lot. So Taliyah ultimate can be used to try and corral the enemy team into a good Bard ultimate.
That can be really scary here. And they've got so much range, right? Like, you can do it from off the screen and suddenly there's nowhere to go.
Boost them.
Yep, turn off the turret and dive them. All those things available. It's going to be a pretty exciting one here. And you can see on the screens that the players have loaded back on into the Rift. So it's time for the last game of the day, the last playoff spot up for grabs. OpTic Gaming and Golden Guardians, 8 and 10 to close out the regular split. Tiebreakers abound. OpTic won earlier in the day to go up to 9, and now it's time to see who can claim the crown, who can take 6th place and battle CLG in the quarterfinals. Shout out the crowd, cheering on their favorite teams. We got about 30 minutes of League of Legends ahead of us now to determine who is the number 6 squad and who can go above that. Otherwise, your season is over. You will not be in the regional qualifier with a loss here. You cannot carry enough points forward to be relevant in the post season. So your season ends here, or it continues on for several weeks in the future. OpTic and GGS hoping to be those top dogs at the end of it all. OpTic narrowly missed the spring split playoffs. Golden Guardians fought a very tough series in the quarterfinals, but couldn't quite advance past that point. Hoping improvements were enough there. Every team fought incredibly hard in summer to improve upon what everyone else did.
Both these teams have really shown up in summer. fighting very, very valiantly to get to this point. Only one will move on. Will we have sort of any sort of delayed moves? Doesn't look like it. Red starts for both junglers here. No leash on the bottom side, but a delayed entry from Arrow and Big. So maybe faking a little bit of a leash to try and keep Golden Guardians and Contractz guessing. Meanwhile, on the top side, Hauntzer does help out Contractz a little bit with that red buff.
All right, back in the lane, though. Not missing any XP here. Going to get most of the CS here as well as he autos and gets away from the knockup. As we expect, Grasp has been pretty much the only keystone that Gangplank ever uses anymore. Much more lane priority. Not as much gold, but you don't need it nearly as much. It's just simply getting your lane to look good. As the first push in the bottom lane goes toward Arrow in Big, lands some Q poke. And at the early levels, you really don't expect to win fights as Braum Ezreal, so they should be under the turret for the start of this.
Yeah, and I want to really highlight the jungle tracking that's already coming out from OpTic. You see these two wards. Crown pushed up one wave. After the first wave push on Taliyah, he moves in, goes to get this ward on the Raptors that now sees meteos. So this allows, again, the barred lane to play as aggressively as possible early on. We saw it last time, but jungle tracking goes a long way in helping these matchups that you draft early on try and play out how they want to, get that harassment down, go for those Qs, for those autos. Meanwhile, it didn't cost Crown anything on the Taliyah. He was able to get a very effective shove. meteos now is over a ward himself. Does see the movement from Hauntzer to kind of give it away. And
Contractz not going to walk into the brush himself. Is not certain if Jarvan's there or not, but when the fight is the top laners are battling, and now it's going to be meteos who is there first as it's Contractz going the other way around, so Hauntzer's alone in this one, taking a lot of damage, flashes the knockup. Oh, gets the follow a little bit there, but so low, and how that's to go away from this one is now Crown. Low under the turret! Couple more shots would do him in, but they're not going to land. Out they go. No deaths yet.
Yeah, definitely a close one here, right under the tower. One more auto, it looked like, for a little bit of extra burst. Contractz sending Crown back to base and meteos sending Hauntzer back to base. meteos used his flash to follow the Hauntzer flash and get the knockup, but there's no extra damage that gets done. So in the end, Hauntzer able to walk away, able to heal back up. He does not return to base. He does not use his teleport. He sticks around, hiding in this brush now, gaining some experience from afar, but the minion wave will be pushing away into dangerous territory.
He's got to do something to clear this one out. Right now, though, he is safe. The Jarvan is nowhere near. meteos just recalled a minute ago, and so Hauntzer would be safe to auto, but doesn't know for certain where that Jarvan is.
Yeah, and that is going to cost him gold. He does not get up to the minion wave. This early on, you cannot effectively CS from Gangplank from afar. He's going to run lower and lower on mana. So even though meteos doesn't get the kill up there, he does go for the full commitment. And it will have lasting repercussions as far as the gold income for this matchup. Dhokla has been a big step-up performer for OpTic in their summer split rise. And Aatrox has definitely been one of his go-to champions.
Push comes in yet again into the mid lane. Froggen, though, comfortably able to withstand that and simply clear the minions right back out. Looking at individual gold leads, about 1,500 gold earned on these mid laners. We've already seen Crown take his first recall as he was pushed out.
Setting up the dive here with the big minion wave. 3 members roam up. Crown trying to get there with Taliyah.
Flashless Hauntzer goes back to his turret, pulls in TP from his teammate as well. Not going to get knocked out, he's taking way too much damage. First blood comes through on the Roman, now Froggen 1v3. Contractz coming around as well. Do they have the damage? Not sure they do. 3 health members of OpTic run right back out after denying a gigantic minion wave. From
once again, as I said in Champs Select, the Taliyah, another early effective roam to the top side. meteos set it up, now they're going for it. They continue with the Krug steal and kick Contractz out of his own jungle, but he's back in!
Goes back in, TP's around, one auto attack would have knocked him down, but just barely gets away. Some poke towards Dhokla, but TPing back in makes him feel pretty safe. Jumps back over there, but minions dying to the turret, and Hauntzer not getting any of that.
OpTic sticking to the game plan here. meteos does the early work, then they repeat the finish the job here. No flash onto Hauntzer. They don't get the seismic shove. Hauntzer does a good job, just barely able to walk out of that one, even after being the victim of the knockup, but they still have enough damage with 3 people roaming up there, and they're able to get the kill. Froggen teleporting to the top side, uses the summoner spell to try and answer, but there's no counter kill for the Golden Guardians, and this is a stable 1,000 gold lead for OpTic Gaming.
And now the matchup's a little bit more interesting as Hauntzer actually walked back to his lane, or I should say to the mid lane itself, and collects some of the farm stacking up there. You can see the temporary matchup, 49-20. is an absurd difference right there. Of course, equalizing a little bit there, but even as they reset the lane, it's still double CS for Dhokla thanks to all the help he got from his squad. So a really good start early on.
Gangplank always very vulnerable to dives early on. Something you have to worry about with the squishier champions. A lot of people tried to answer with going grass, stack up your health, but he had no chance to stack up any health. Dhokla feels so good right now. Big lead on the Aatrox. See if they can use this as effectively as they have in the past. This one, again, he's building up a big minion wave here very slowly, as you can see. Maybe they'll, again, call more attention. The Jarvan and the Taliyah. Taliyah now level 6, 3-2 roam. No package for Froggen, so he can't get there as quickly, and there goes the minion wave.
Yeah, and you can see where the wards are down for OpTic as well. They've got the Scuttle Crab, Control Ward, and the Lane Brush up there. There is certainly the avenues to move up there, and you can see that lane continuing to be attacked as a possibility. Bot lane pretty equal here, 3 CS apart, as they've been just happy to push in OpTic.
I think it is a very, very effective strategy. You're just going to continue to focus the weak area of your opponents and just pry that area of the map open. Look at Hauntzer right now. Look at this mini-map. He is being shoved off of the minion waves. If he wasn't Gangplank with that ultimate to be able to pick up those minions, he would be so incredibly sad right now. Still down, pretty much getting doubled in CS by Dhokla at this point, and you can see in the gold difference, there's basically 1,000 extra gold in Dokla's pockets.
Yeah, pretty massive right there as Dokla's knocked down one plate up there already as he kind of lets Hauntzer hit him when he wants to, lands a Q, takes a short shot for his troubles, but takes the better side of that trade. So Contractz gonna feel safe to fight the bottom side, but Meteos coming down here as well. Level 5 on both. Better items on Contractz. Flag comes over. Meteos knows now it's being fought over. Now starts the fight. Q's gonna land. Auto smite too early for Meteos. So goes to Contractz and he ward hops into Blast Cone. Now the Q follow-up should have that timed well. Big not gonna find the sun thanks to a flash. His Contractz just runs away, but a red buff steal, I'll take that for a flash.
Yeah, flash used to get out there. Definitely necessary. Contractz able to get that red buff. I don't think he even had to smite because Meteos smited early. 15 HP left on it. And the arrival of the Q is enough to finish it up for him. That is definitely a bit of a tilter for the jungle matchup. See if they can actually use that momentum. Golden Guardians need something to get back into this. Hauntzer's doing his best to just farm up there on Gangplank now that everything has gone sour. He's able to get to a pretty decent stabilization spot right now. I mean, he's got an extra charge plus the biscuit for more regeneration. Dhokla not going to go for any sort of dives without help. So at least if Golden Guardians can track the rest of the members of OpTic, and Hauntzer should be able to farm it out.
Jeez, Dhokla feels so safe. He's just soloing the Krug camp in the opposing jungle. Like, extra gold, extra XP. No one's going to stop me. It's fine. We know Contractz is bottom side. Just gets a lot done. They keep pinging him, actually. OpTic still knows where he is. Big keeps shooting. I think it's interesting. He's shooting the Q behind Huhi constantly, expecting the juke back. Most pro players, you'll see the wind-up animation. Be like, okay, I gotta move somewhere randomly so you don't see which way I go. And Big is expecting the juke, and Huhi's not giving it to him.
Definitely love the mind games. Meanwhile, it is going to be a Dragon startup. This is a Mountain Drake. Not the highest priority early game Dragon. Maybe the least priority for early game Dragons, but it will be a pickup nonetheless. The Golden Guardians just are going to have to leave Hauntzer to be the weak side of the map. You can't win that 2v2 scenario. So they're just going to take bottom side, take the Dragon for themselves, try and use that to their advantage. Meanwhile, Meteos goes to their power point. Hauntzer has to respect it. Back off. His ultimate is thankfully almost back up for him. Should be able to use it to clear another minion wave pretty quickly here.
You see Meteos has a Trinket Ward over there to see if Contractz coming. He's not, though. Hauntzer, though, doesn't know if he's sticking around anymore. Only saw the Tri-Brush Ward. He went the other way out. Now look at the trade. Does some damage. Hauntzer takes another plate himself. So that's 2 plates down to the top side. As Dhokla will not knock down Hauntzer. He's going to be able to farm this out. Ooh. This is the cannon, unfortunately, but...
Oh, no! He got 1!
Oh! This CS lead is growing. It's 46 right now. This is a gigantic difference 10 minutes in. This is almost record-setting, I gotta believe. That's actually an incredibly huge difference topside.
Yeah, it's rough, and it's super scary up there too, as, you know, from the perspective of the top laner, the Gangplank, who's super far behind, you have to constantly worry about the position of the enemy jungler, of the enemy mid laner roaming up to go for that dive. And you could see how Hauntzer was, you know, so trepid in his approach to the minion wave, worried about the possible extra arrivals of enemies, but in the end, gets the experience. Meanwhile, possible answers here. Froggen with the blue buff on Corki, heading towards the Trinity Force. No package currently, so no big playmaking though.
Over the wall though, are we gonna see the, nope, not gonna go for the ult just yet. Just gonna let Froggen fight for minions, take a rocket, and they're gonna be okay here. Running back and forth, 2.6 thousand the gold lead for OpTic right now. A lot of that through the top lane, roughly half of it, 1,300 gold lead up there. The rest of the squad though doing well enough to make the other half of that lead.
Huhi puts up the unbreakable, denies the auto, saves the control ward.
Yeah!
Another small victory for the Golden Guardians. Meanwhile, meteos is going to start up the Rift Herald and take a little bit larger of an objective.
Yeah, definitely a lot bigger here. Still 2 minutes till plates go down as the smite comes in. meteos grabs that objective, and that's third plate top side. So if it goes for the instant summon, that is 100% going to be first turret going down. 3 plates have been taken in the bottom lane by OpTic, 0 in the mid lane for either squad, and this is absolutely, undeniably first turret. And Dhokla gonna get all the gold as the Jarvan not coming nearby as well. So that's money going into the pockets. Dhokla gonna be the one with the lead up here.
Golden Guardians trying to exchange sides of the map by pressuring the opposite side. They know meteos is top, so they get a turret plate for FBI and Huhi. Some more gold into the Ezreal lane there. Meanwhile, Hauntzer trying to scavenge up some gold here on the top side while Dhokla presses ahead.
He just feels so safe. I mean, very rarely do teams actually follow in the Herald to turret number 2, but actually able to sit there for a little while. Turret well below half HP. Dhokla, again, just counter jungling, doing more than even meteos himself does. Fights for the red buff, and no one is around. Everyone else is tracked. They know he's safe. He's just poaching the camps away, padding his own stats. Dhokla is just, I mean, I don't want to say 1v9 because his team is helping him out with this one, but he's so absurdly ahead.
All right, meanwhile, bottom side of the map, got some Bard roams going on, and meteos has actually come down to assist him. Will they go for FBI here? Ezreal's pretty hard to catch out.
But they might find that first slow. Arcane Shift means he's gonna live, but his health bar's at 500 now.
Yep, definitely significant damage done there. meteos with the electrocute proc as well, landing the Q. This pressure from OpTic is overwhelming. Golden Guardians trying to farm up some money, and the crowd trying to farm up some support for them as well.
Oh, that's a deep ward. That could be a TP. That could be Hauntzer and Froggen showing up. Huhi walks forward, looks for the Q. Easy spell shield. Arrow even goes into it, make sure he gets the mana. And no play is made. A safe recall for the OpTic bottom lane. Comparing the players, 300 gold lead to Arrow over FBI right now. So across most of the map, it's going quite well. Even the mid lane is positive thanks to the kill that Crown has. So down the line, a better early game for OpTic. The question, though, is what the mid and late game looks like. We know Corki scales incredibly well, can be a huge force in these late games, and Froggen does have plenty of gold.
Yep, Froggen farming up quite nicely. Trinity Force completed is definitely a big power spike for the Corki. Crown gone for the GLP early on Taliyah. You saw him use it there. A little bit of damage on the minions, not much else. Gonna be able to annihilate that minion wave regardless. I wonder if OpTic do try and continue the pressure to the bottom side. If they keep forcing Hauntzer's Gangplank ultimate on top to clear minion waves, that would free it up a little bit more. But as of right now, Golden Guardians holding onto the Gangplank ultimate to try and answer pressure elsewhere on the map. So one of the things about Gangplank, even when focused so early on, he can try and farm up and use the ultimate to assist the teammates to hold out elsewhere.
See how safe OpTic feel, though. You have meteos and Big running through the opposing jungle, clearing wards out. Contractz running over wards of OpTic right now. Arrow completely safe to 1v2. Wave clears, doesn't drop any CS in a 1v2 while his teammates do a lot of work elsewhere. They look to push Froggen, made him lose part of a wave under the turret. Back to the mid lane they go. Again, can threaten that Corki.
They got to worry about the package now, though. That adds so much threat to these little skirmishes. You can see the OpTic venturing down through the river, but they have to call off the play as Froggen heads right back out to mid lane.
Well, right now, CS lead in the top lane remains 50. It's not stretching anymore, and that turret isn't dying any faster, so that's at least stabilizing. Now it's just catching up while printing extra money with the Gangplank Q. Second Drake spawns. Ocean Drake in 16 minutes. That should go to OpTic.
Ultimate available, teleport available. Golden Guardians in.
They found the kick, they found the kill in a bit. That's a good start now. Will it be a Baron steal or a Drake steal? Good smite goes to meteos. Crown over the wall, has to burn his own flash. But the package comes in. Froggen wants to make the big play. He's running out, now going for arrow, but his spell shield looks pretty solid. They find that kill in the crowd. That is 2 kills now in the Golden Guardians. They turn the corner off that Drake start.
Yep, they're gonna make him pay for that Ocean Drake, and it's at the cost of 2 members' lives. Golden Guardians pushing on the turret as well, trying to get an objective back.
Just what they needed, shrinking the lead to only 2,500. Still work to be done, but clawing the way back in, shrinking it somewhat as the minions will go down. The plate won't die, stay at half health as FBI wave clears a bit more.
Another look at the fight around Dragon. Big is the target. Froggen goes right for him. Lee Sin Q lands. Kick from Contractz means he's not getting through that magical journey. First, for the attempt at a steal, Froggen makes the call. Hey, we got Gangplank ultimate. Let's go in. Crown has to walk over the package the entire time. Can't get off of the burning ground. Right into the Gangplank ultimate as well. There was nowhere for him to go.
He chose to. I mean, he could have probably run left, like back towards his own base, but he wanted to help Arrow, and yeah, that hurt a lot. So that was a kill coming through and a good chase down for the rest of GGS. And watch again now at the next game state. Once again, top lane, it's staying within about 50. Dhokla is, again, not stretching it by too much. Blue goes over, Crown can have some more regen, but now a flashless Taliyah, definitely an easier target.
See if OpTic will play a little bit around Crown then, because they have such a big lead here. They can knock down the bottom turret, continually focusing that area. They can really open up the map.
Unlucky.
Yeah, getting a little bit out of range of the patience there. Luck, not a lot to do with it, as the Raptor goes right back to
not luck.
Spawn.
Completely deterministic. But oh well, that's okay. It's the case here in this one as Froggen has now been moved to the side lane. He's going to be defending this bottom outer turret as Arrow and reinforcements coming around. Doesn't feel safe to auto the turret. Doesn't want to get chunked out by Froggen.
You see them hovering around here in the river. Once again, OpTic looking for the possible threat on this turret. But more damage being dealt to the bottom side and whittling away. Recalls will be stopped here as Huhi goes in. Stops meteos. Does not cause Big to stop his. Stopwatches are available now. There's 1 for Big. Looks like that is about it.
Well, it's going to be a pretty easy red buff kill. Looks like Dhokla's second of the game. Continues to have a lot of pressure up there, and while the farm lead isn't growing, he's still poaching those camps, still denying XP and gold from Contractz. We're seeing a pretty big gold lead in the jungle role as well. The farm certainly a lot higher to make up for the 1 kill that Contractz has.
Bottom lane, maybe.
Maybe, but kills a ward and walks out. It does mean the Arrow should feel a little bit perturbed. He is alone down here, but not being pushed in, able to safely farm and trade blows with his Corki.
I think Golden Guardian's pretty happy to be safely trading farm at this stage in the game. They're not bleeding any more objectives. They're not dropping further behind in gold. They're stacking up more gold on these poke champions. Gangplank to his Trinity Force now, in addition to Corki, plus the Ezreal now with the 2-item power spike.
Yeah.
Iceborne right there, trying to complete the more amount of transform as well.
Froggen feeling a bit more comfortable, gets a lot of damage down on that turret. Was left at about half HP a while ago, down to about 12% now. Getting close to starting to put objectives on the board. Keep in mind, it's only 1-0 in turrets. Just for the top lane, OpTic have not gotten major headwinds anywhere else.
Yeah, definitely good job by OpTic stabilizing this game, trying to get to an even state at 20 minutes. Here goes Froggen down.
Big damage on the Corki as Dhokla's got to kite this out. Looks for the Q, finds the hit there as Contractz kicks him away though. But here comes the squad. They turn off the turret. Big has arrived, and again, just dies to Contractz. Bit up more than he can chew, but the TP comes in. The health bar Hauntzer was chunked down, I think, by the Taliyah.
Yep.
Huhi's going to be next up there as Dhokla finds another kill, going for huge damage on the turret.
What is going on? Everybody's going in right with low health bars there. Big dives into the tower, trying to make a hero bard play. Into a 2v1 though, gets immediately bursted down, but then Hauntzer tries to teleport. Maybe he did not see Crown, because Crown takes him down to 20%, and then upon arrival, gets destroyed. Dhokla from the brush, though, starts it all out. Big Dokes at it again.
Hell yeah.
Chunks down Froggen. That's why it all starts out. That's what Big is thinking. He's thinking, hell yeah, Froggen is the target, but that is a solo lane champion there, and he just gets annihilated, even with the exhaust going down. Golden Guardians then try and turn it, and Hauntzer did teleport just
Oh,
wait, no, he had full vision. He was probably looking bottom.
Yeah.
He most certainly had his camera on the bottom fight and did not see Crown jump out. So he was probably as surprised on arrival as everyone else was.
He casted like a riotous Crown come out of fog, and he can't cancel. He's like, well, this is 900 health gone. See you in bot lane.
Yeah, that teleport is a one-way trip.
Yeah, oh my. Well, back to the fountain he goes. The delayed recall is what we call that play. And we go back to the map here, but it's still a interesting game here. OpTic, you can see their lead is 3,000. Back to the Drake. This time they get it without losing anyone.
And importantly, they got the turret in all of that aftermath, that skirmish down bottom. That was the last opening that they really needed to go for this mid play. Taliyah wall doesn't quite reach.
Yeah, just some damage in FBI. Because of the TP, we had Crown finish up the top lane tier 2, so doing the rest of the work that Dhokla laid the groundwork for. Yep, thank you very much. As you mentioned, Kobe, bot lane outer has dropped as well. Statistically, mid outer is the last outer turret to drop in most games. It's just the most easily defensible. Interesting to note, mid lane tier 2, the earliest tier 2 to normally drop. Once you break mid, you go farther in. This time around, not going to be the case, as top was taken down, but thought people might like to know that one. Huhi breaks the crossblade there, and they're going to knock down these minions, keep the mid turret alive a little bit longer.
Pretty strong 1-3-1 setup from OpTic too, if they continue with it. Crown here on the Taliyah, definitely very, very mobile with the ultimate. As soon as that comes back up, you can threaten those mid lane plays. Dhokla uncontested in the 1v1 still. He's got the Death Dance plus the Black Cleaver combination. So much cooldown reduction there. They're centered around mid lane. Possible dive as soon as Crown gets here. He's a ways away, and they're starting it early.
Huhi jumps out to put Sivir in case they think they can find a trade, but no, they don't get the kill down as a quick hop keeps Huhi safe. Turret down to 1/4.
Big has to be way more careful. Look at that Bard health right now. 15% HP as he gets chunked down. Definitely a liability there. With that much poke on the team, you can get killed by Ezreal ultimates, you can get killed by stray rockets from Froggen, Hauntzer Gangplank ultimate can come down. It's a lot of long-range damage here from Golden Guardians. As we mentioned in Champion Select, they built quite the long-range arsenal for themselves, and now they've been able to stabilize enough in this game, they've farmed up the damage behind it.
They have. One good thing, though, for OpTic is that Ocean Drake that they grabbed, though they lost 2 members. Ocean's good against poke. Sure, it's a missing health heal. It's not amazing when you're at only 80%, but it's extra health when you're stuck on the map. You're having to weather the storm of Ezreal and Corki putting stuff down. Infinite mana for Arrow, able to easily wave through, right? He's in these 1v2s and 1v3s and just presses W, the wave goes down, able to let the rest of his team do important things, and that's been successful so far. It's 3-0 in turrets.
Golden Guardians still trying to farm out some of their own jungle here. Contractz tries to get it as quickly as possible before OpTic return once again. They keep up the pressure. Dhokla pushing on the bottom side, trying to get these minions into the bottom turret to once again set up a mid play. He's rotating over. He's found Hauntzer.
Gonna find almost a knockup, but Hauntzer forced a flash to get away. Meteos follow-up could have been too much damage. Now you see the wall coming down. That turret almost gone. One more auto comes in, and now here comes Meteos looking at one knockup. Ult comes in. Huhi could be the target. Put him into 300 HP. Stopwatch pop. Crown gets the kill. Nice pickup there in the mid lane after a tower dive. And OpTic Gaming continue to pick up advantage after advantage in this game.
Yeah, plus with the solo flash burn from Dhokla, he's able to get up to the secondary turret on bottom side. Contractz!
Goes for the big play, stopwatch on big, and he sets it up. The Ignite takes the kill over. 2-0 and kills now is OpTic as they are pushing open this map.
Yeah, they've turned it into a steamroll here. With the mid turret falling, they now have complete control over the Golden Guardians jungle, and they're trying to continue to take it away. Dhokla will finish up that Gromp. Here's another look at how it started out. Once again, they push the side lane, they converge on mid. It is Crown setting up with the Taliyah ultimate, trying to pincer them between the turret and the wall. Meteos goes in, turns around for the second look, has Stopwatch himself, so they can pick up the kill. Then there's no answer quite yet. Contractz doesn't land that Q. He circles back around though. What baits him in? He just wants to go for the 100% onto Big. Big was able to get the heal there on the wall, finishes it up, and no harm, no foul with that stopwatch broken. I believe that was Crown's heal, by the way.
Nice stuff right there. Yeah, that was beautiful stuff, keeping the squad alive, and it's getting farther and farther towards OpTic's way. And this is a team that it felt like a little while ago OpTic was slipping. They had such a really good start at the very beginning of Summer Split, and it felt like they were stacking up losses, but they turned it around, it seems, just in time. Getting one crucial win in the last couple of weeks, and Now moving on upwards here as they are winning a tiebreaker just an hour or so ago, and now winning this one as well. If they can close it out, back into playoffs they go.
I have to say, meteos specifically on OpTic has had so much success throughout the LCS on so many different teams. You know, everyone knows him most for his time on Cloud9, but he had huge impacts on 100 Thieves when they first entered and were so successful. On Phoenix 1 even, joining late, and now he might have a big impact on Hauntzer.
He's gonna find the knockup, gonna get some decent damage here. No flash in the GP. Jukes a couple of shots, but the squad is still on the chase. Here comes the Cataclysm over the wall. Gets some more damage, and now it's still Hauntzer trying to run away. The flag comes across, and it's actually much more about the Jarvan. The flash for the slow. The kill goes over the top laner. Of course, it was Aatrox doing all of the work.
Meanwhile, mid lane, OpTic are pushing ahead. Secondary turret about to fall. Arrow and Crown finish this one up, and Golden Guardians are bleeding all over the map.
Absolutely bleeding out right now. Second Ocean Drake gonna be meteos to take in complete leisure here, as all we can see is Froggen pushing in a wave, getting some farm, but not contesting any fights right now. He's had 100% kill participation. He's been useful when he's been there, collecting the farm, but his team getting taken down elsewhere. Dhokla now pushing into the bottom side. 3 completed items already. Feels so powerful with these massive pieces there. Drake comes down. The 6th turret drops as well. OpTic doing so much more in this game.
Yeah, he feels so powerful because he is so powerful. Absolutely insane right now for Dhokla. Level 17, highest level in the entire game. Pushing up to the inhibitor tower now and doing work.
Okay, now again, the attempt in the mid lane as they get FBI for some damage. Jumps over the wall, stays safe, big a bit low. But Sivir ulti means they can now find this. Ezreal has to burn his flash as the wall finally comes down. The rest of Golden Guardians run away, but still his Summoner Spell lead for that aggression of OpTic.
All right, Golden Guardians, they have to pull something out now to try and put a stop to this push from OpTic. Froggen has the package, so he's playing aggressively right now. Able to get out a lot of damage on the Corki. Crown and Big back to safety, though, behind their turret.
All right, some damage though on this turret, puts it at half HP. Wave throw to Sivir means they find some poke and get out. Dhokla still winning his side lane matchup. 2-level lead over Hauntzer, not to mention the 70 CS, as now the dunk comes into the back line. There's a bit of CC coming across with a jump forward. They don't quite find the knock, but they still find the kill into FBI. And it's Huhi trying to run away, just barely staying alive. Dhokla pushed out by Froggen, as the Corki will stop the chase here. But this is still gonna be a very safe push, as OpTic have still claimed that kill, and it's still 5v4 on the map.
Yeah, 28.5 minutes in, and they are not done yet. Exposed inhibitor on the bottom side. Dhokla working in here on Hauntzer, able to finish up while the rest of the team pushing in on mid. They might go for a reset though, because Baron is on the table, and they don't want to throw away the control that they've been able to stack up this game. They basically have this playoff spot in their hands. They have control, and they want to make it count. One more reset here, then back out to set up around Baron.
Alrighty. We'll see if OpTic can make this one clean. And it looks like it's up to them to close out the game. It's certainly OpTic's to lose with a 6,000 gold lead. Sub 30 minutes in, they have making all the good plays. It started out with a lot of pressure top lane. Dhokla himself has remained hugely ahead. 13,500 to 10,000. 3K gold lead just in the top lane. Still remains half of the lead OpTic has. Hauntzer finally gets rank 3 ultimate. Scaling up, has his second completed item with the Yomu's Ghostblade. But there's still threats elsewhere.
This is it, Golden Guardians. All right, package actually timing out for Froggen. That was one of their big cards to play here in the mid game. Even down in gold, that can be a huge turner for a team fight. They've got some very, very difficult decisions to make at the moment though, with an unstoppable Aatrox pressing down the bottom side of the map and Baron available across the other side. They will get drawn in 2 directions here. Sending Froggen over to help out Hauntzer in the 2v1 to deal with Dhokla, but not able to do much. Again, the hard engage from Golden Guardians isn't really there. They have mostly poke damage, and it's actually Contractz who gets chunked down.
Death cap done for Crown, plus double flat magic penetration. Does so much damage to the Ninja Tabi only of Contractz there. Nearly takes him down. And there's, yeah, a lot of damage threats here. Dhokla now level 18, first in the game to reach that mark, 2 above anyone else. Well, only 1 above Froggen, but still beats him to that track record. And we can see what comes in next. 3 items for Arrow, big ones there. FBI is just not quite as impactful, to be honest, on Ezreal. He can stay safe, but I don't know if he can kill the front line here. Meteos is really tanky as well. Stone plates in, plus half the Warmogs. Level 14 actually ties that of the AD carry, so the durability is here, the team fight power is there, the split push power is there. It feels like it's the 3-item Corki. Feels like it's Froggen, it's the one that he's got to be the one to carry this.
Also, keep your eyes on Huhi. It's incredibly important that he breaks the Sivir damage. Arrow is really fed on Sivir right now. You know, 3 and plus
okay.
Well, keep your eyes on Huhi.
And Crown.
That wasn't exactly what we were looking for there. Braum is down. Crown finds the pick instantly, taking down the Braum. Now there is no one to stop the damage from OpTic coming through.
But he sees him in the corner, has a flash get away, but there might be more. Here comes the dunk, no escape tools, and Big grabs his second kill. OpTic 5v3 on the map. An opposing jungler is alive, but they can still push in for the base as the team comes through and looks to push down mid.
Yeah, this one is going one way. OpTic all inside the base.
Tower dive for the Aatrox, loses the Sterix shield, finally drops turret aggro. That turret itself's gonna go down, but Arrow's very low, has to be careful. Waiting for the Ocean Drake regen. Big Doke's coming forward again, but cannot find the knockup. So it will be the inhibitor, then probably going out. And even still, waiting for this one to drop as Golden Guardians get the support back alive. Down goes the inhib, time for the reset for OpTic.
All right, they're able to get out with the magical journey themselves. Finishing up these wards, it should be a reset for them. Pings go down onto the dragon. Again, this is just a mountain drake, so it's not even a very big consolation prize to pick up. Doesn't really give you anything unless you already are going to win a team fight. So I don't think Golden Guardians should have very high priority on it. You definitely don't want to risk the game's team fight on a mountain drake 32.5 minutes into the game. OpTic aren't going to give it up here. They're sticking around. And Golden Guardians are going to force it. Is this going to be it?
Package. Can they get the split that GGS needs? This fight needs to be won or it's probably over. When does the engage come in? Froggen on the one side. The wall comes out, separating GGS, but FBI can just barely jump over. And Huhi puts the shield down to stop that wall as well. True shot barrage lands on a 2. Froggen is still safe, still has the package. Dhokla pushing Contractz way back in the jungle. Here comes the blade for this one. Contractz zoned out, so the pickup though goes to Hauntzer. Huhi, though, solo can no longer team fight. GGS grabbed the Mountain Drake. They don't lose any members. They got to reset, though.
Ooh, Golden Guardians do get the objective. Now, can they get back? They see the Ezreal. The recalls are going off. Dhokla in the pit.
He's got the GA. He's got the He's running for dear life. Staying alive here as the rest of the squad, though, is isolated and broken apart. Meteos puts on the Cataclysm. Here comes the attempted reset. The stun's coming across. They will kill Crown, and it's going to be 1-for-1. Dhokla now getting one for himself. 2-1 in favor of OpTic Gaming. They push now for Froggen. Running fast. Finds the flash knockup. Looking for a bit more. Deathbringer stance. Second knockup. Make it a third, and Big Dokes comes up for a double kill.
Yep, teleport going off as well. They want to go straight for the win here. Teleporting towards mid lane. Hauntzer trying to defend. All he can rely on is Contractz.
The barrels and wave clear. It's 4v2 for 20 seconds. This could be the push that puts OpTic into playoff position for a date with CLG. Here comes the turret turning off number 1. That's going to be gone down. Time for number 2. Easily got the damage. Contractz and Hauntzer must do everything 2v4, and they can't do anything. The Nexus now under fire. Ignited is Contractz. Big jumps through. That's the game. OpTic make it to playoffs. Happy to see them be successful, that the hard work does pay off. What amazes me is, and I mean this in a positive way, the record was worse this split and was the one they made playoffs. 9-9 in spring wasn't good enough, a more competitive one you might say, or something else, who knows, but they put together enough wins to have to make the grueling tiebreaker. They've got to win back-to-back games for 6, and this time it works out.
And the hard work has really paid off for OpTic. They have fought just every single weekend so closely with all of the teams. Not even, the record I feel like doesn't give it justice.
No, it doesn't.
Because even a lot of the losses were so incredibly close that this team looks better than ever. Yeah. And it's to the surprise of a lot of people. When people saw this roster kind of put together helter-skelter at the beginning of the year, it didn't really look that cohesive, but they have really brought it together. Yeah. And that focus has got them into playoffs. Let's see how far they can go.
Seen growth from a lot of players. Impressive Dhokla here as well. But now for more on the final team to punch their ticket into playoffs. Going to send it on the Ovally and a couple of victorious members of OpTic.
Thanks, guys. So many splits. OpTic has missed playoffs by an inch, but today that all ends. Guys, congratulations on the win and making it into playoffs. Dhokla, starting with you, what does this moment and what does this achievement really mean for you?
Well, it is my first time in playoffs, but I think playoffs is like we should have had playoffs with how the split started and stuff. So we kind of trolled middle of the split. So it's good to be in playoffs for sure. We had a long day for sure. And yeah, it definitely feels liberating to finally make it.
Super close, but all the hard work paid off. And Arrow, coming to you. It's been 2017 since you were last in playoffs. So now, what's it like to be back?
I mean, it's obviously feels very good. Feels good, man. You know? And then, I mean, I think I played well, yeah, in 2K17. But if I feel like I fell down, like going down, and my performance was not that great. So I think that's a result of my performance. So I will accept it. But I want to change the future, you know. Yeah.
What do you think changed? What got you back up to where you wanted to be in terms of performance?
I feel like I don't play. Sometimes I don't play that much aggressive, but you know, obviously Doublelift always playing aggressive. But even if he dies, just you're aggressive, like. So maybe I will learn that, but I just wanna be aggressive when I should be, and that's probably my goal. Cause my lane phase I think is fine recently. My team fight could be better, but that's my goal, aggressive.
And Dhokla, I want to look to you next because you couldn't hear it, but throughout the cast and basically throughout the day, the casters were singing the praises of the big Dokes. So tell me, what'd you think of your performance throughout all of today, and what does hearing that praise really mean for you?
It feels good to have like a good day or like a good week after last, I think, week 8 where we went 0-2, where games were winnable. So it definitely feels liberating. Like, that's the word. It's just liberating to finally play it well and win as a team.
All right, and your first playoff opponent is going to be CLG. Tough opponent, at least I think, but what do you think?
I mean, it will not be easy, but I think every game is winnable. I think so, and especially I want to win against Mr. Tristan, Power of Evil. My older teammates, so as always, you want to win against the older teammates, even if just having fun, you know? Yeah.
I'm going to ask for a follow-up for you before I jump on something else.
I think you misspoke. It was free LG.
I don't even need to ask it now, but guys, today is a super happy day, happy occasion for you and for the org and the entire team. So tell me, how are you going to celebrate today's win?
I didn't eat in and out between so first, we had the first game, and then I wanted to eat in and out as a lunch before the tiebreaker, but my Mr. Coach said that no carbs, guys. Like, nah, so I want to celebrate with this 3 In-N-Out burger.
I think I just want to play League right now. So I just want to get on to next week and actually like show up in playoffs. Yeah.
Awesome, I love that. I'm gonna go find Coach Zabutin right now and demand that he picks you up in and out because you two have earned it once again, guys. Congratulations on making playoffs.
I will eat vanilla shake too.
Vanilla shake.
Yeah.
And a vanilla shake. You heard that, Zob. Analyst desk, please wrap us up today.
Thank you, Avali. 3 burgers and a vanilla shake. I'd say they earned that.
But what kind of fries?
Today. Oh, no, animal style. No, I'd say that these OpTic guys absolutely deserve a celebration after a very tough day where they had to pick up multiple wins. Again, they did take the loss to C9 at the top of the day, but then back-to-back tiebreakers to eke into that 6th place slot. We've been talking about it all split long, that this is a squad who has consistently missed playoffs by just 1 win or 1 place. They're always just missing it, and here they get it done at the 9th hour, 11th hour, and make it in.
Yeah, they're right on the edge, but they did it in exactly the way you want them to do it. Dhokla playing the Aatrox once again. I mean, they got a little bit stylish putting Big on the Bard, but he did not get to shine as brightly as the rest of the team did. I mean, OpTic really put on a clinic here of what works really well for them.
I think Dhokla, being kind of the hard carry this game, he's had a great weekend all around. He's been so good, and it's hilarious for us because OpTic is one of our favorite teams to watch and talk about behind the scenes. We just love seeing Dhokla's performance. Dokles is what we call him.
Young Dokles.
The Dokles. Whenever he's playing well, he's Dokles. And he's been popping off in the kind of second half of the split, especially on Aatrox. It's one of his best champions. It's a must ban heading into playoffs.
How could you not want this guy to succeed? How could you not?
I don't know.
He's such
so
a nice dude. And then he shows up on these carry champions kind of out of nowhere, right? Because even we, a while back, had him pinned as the tank player, the guy who's just meant to survive, just meant to absorb pressure, let his team do all the work on the other side of the map, and then just kind of get, carried into a victory. And then something changed here in summer, and he's popping off, and I think the team's starting to realize.
He busted out the Akali, and I think that's what it is, right? The team was, when they were struggling, they were saying, you know what, no. I know Dhokla is not having a good time, but trust us, he's great. We have faith in our guy, and it's paying off now, finally. And this now brings a whole new level of play to OpTic Gaming. If they can now play to the top side and actually execute on these carries, they're going to be really scary to play.
Especially for Crown. I mean, as much as we've loved seeing Crown be the hard carry in a lot of these games, that's not really his natural play style. He's never been that. Yeah, in Korea, at his best, he was a more supportive mid laner. He did have a Victor, which was great. And
Disgusting.
Not going to say he's limited to only support champions, but that did seem to be his preferred play style. And if he has a Taliyah that he can bust out now to snowball a very competent Aatrox player in the top lane, like that is, like you're saying, a whole new look to this team beyond the Meteos and Crown need to carry them, which is kind of what they've been painted as for so long.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's really cool to see this uptick here at the end of the season, to see them execute on the pressure situation. I think that's another important thing, right? Because it's very easy when historically you've been the team to trip and fall right at the finish line, to have that similar mindset, to have that similar fear. Well, they've come in and they've defeated that, whole storyline and narrative, and they've reset themselves coming into playoffs. Dhokla saying, all I want to do is play League of Legends. I just want it to be next week. So I'm so excited by that idea, because think about how much more fire he's going to come into next week with than he already had here today.
And against C9, like that's a huge test. You're going up against NA's.
No, CLG.
No, CLG.
CLG.
Right.
Oh, yeah, C9 got the bye. So, well, you get to crush CLG then.
I mean, interesting matchup there, right? Because Ruin has definitely had his own storied, trajectory throughout this summer split, ups and downs at times. And so I guess for both of these top laners, that will be a very intriguing matchup to see which of their teams decide to invest into them and which ones decide to kind of move elsewhere on the map.
Yeah, and I think the objective control is really what's going to decide it. Looking into yesterday's game where we had these two teams play, I think that's what we're going to get most of our information for this playoff matchup, because it was pretty neck and neck the whole way through. It really was CLG had more dragons and was able to actually close out the game that way. I think if OpTic can shore that up, we're going to have a very competitive series.
We'll move to the postseason picture in just a moment, but I do want to give a quick nod to Golden Guardians, as they will be exiting the summer split here, and unfortunately did not acquire enough championship points in spring to make the gauntlet. Fun fact, FlyQuest will make the gauntlet, and so they very much do have the time to kind of retool and maybe work themselves up to it. But, tip of the cap to Golden Guardians. They fought hard all the way here to the bitter end, and it just didn't quite come together.
Yeah, it was a bit of a heartbreaker for me for Golden Guardians. I mean, I find it so bizarre that this team had such high highs and then suddenly just decided to experiment so much at the very end. And that experimentation puts you in a position where you have to change up your dynamic as how you play as a team. I'm looking at particularly when they experimented with the Tristana in the top lane, and I think that really was the catalyst to having this team not play as 5 and then eventually get picked apart by a team that will.
That said, I could see the argument of going with the status quo. You're not necessarily making it to Worlds, right? Or you're not having the confidence that you'll play through the finals. And so making the change is the winning move. It is also the losing move, right? It is the most high-risk, high-reward play. Unfortunately, it went the way of risk instead of reward for Golden Guardians. But as we said, with it finally set in stone, let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket heading into the 2019 Summer Playoffs. Saturday has Clutch Gaming battling it out against TSM, with OpTic and Counterlogic Gaming challenging each other on Sunday.
The TSM Clutch one is I think, the most interesting matchup for me, just because Clutch has been very hot to end the season, and they play a different, fast-paced style than a lot of these other teams, and TSM will need to be on their game to keep them in check.
4 seed, 5 seed, but who do you actually favor in the matchup?
Well, who's jungling for TSM? That's my first question, because we don't really have 2 games for Spica. I'm not going to count the game that we had against a TFT comp from Team Liquid as a Spica game. We really only just had one, and that was a TSM that looked a little bit better than on their poor wins, but still, I'm mostly concerned about that matchup because Clutch Gaming has been firing on all cylinders, and so TSM will need every single member to be on the same page.
And I think a lot of people, they're going to look at Clutch again as a team that can surprise. That high action,
Huhi's
quick pace.
sick.
Huhi's been picking it up a little bit here now, back towards his old form on signature picks like Rumble. So for TSM, what should they be thinking about in this next week?
I think you would probably want to look. I think the bot lane's hard to abuse. You would think Bjergsen versus Demonte should be one of the bigger mismatches. Demonte, a really young guy. I believe this is his first playoff series going up against Bjergsen, the all-time, games leader basically in playoffs. And so you would think Bjergsen has a giant edge, but how the season ended, Bjergsen was not crushing. So I think finding ways to get Bjergsen really involved in the team, whether that's through Spica's play or champ select, really focus, I think, the most on the mid lane because that can spill over to the side lanes.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
I mean,
all right, well, go ahead.
No, I want to save these nuggets for Saturday.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. That's a little clickbait for you guys to come back next week. Now, every week of the regular split, we've shined a light on the player who has stepped up the most across the entire weekend of games. And when it came to the 3 games that he played in Week 9, C9's Ezreal earned the title of Player of the Week.
It's all in the power of the beard.
That's not all it is.
To some, it might be. Right, Samson? What? Yeah, the Samson legend.
I love it, man.
No, but he had a really stellar performance, and it looks to me that this game, the Morgana game, was an even more exceptional game for him because the previous 2 were Alistar and Rakan before he was playing Galleon when it was super meta, and now he just showed on the very last game on the tiebreaker, hey, guess what? If you're gonna try to bust out Rakan or even the Alistar against me, I have a counter pick. I have another tool up my arsenal, and that's gonna be such a nightmare to draft against because no other team has really showcased this much variety.
Yeah, and I think the 4% number, it's not really, the cause, it's more of a symptom that you want to see more of because they were very low in 4%. They were all about absorbing pressure. This weekend was completely the other way around. They were dictating the pace of the game, especially in the bot lane. I think that's what C9 is going to want, to have other places they can go and not be such a mid or top reliant team.
A bit of a new look, looking for that flexibility in the way that they can play the game strategically. I just had to check myself real quick here because when we were talking about the Clutch Gaming versus TSM matchup, I remembered spring 2018.
Oh, yeah.
Clutch
Don't forget.
versus TSM. Clutch 3-1 TSM in the quarterfinals to move along and face 100 Thieves, then go to 5 games. And so that's just a cool rematch org-wise.
If you take recent results, as in the last 2-3 weeks, Clutch is favorite.
Clutch is a favorite. Exactly.
Clutch is a favorite.
I think that is an incredibly intriguing matchup for exactly that reason. That is going to do it for us here, though, on a very long tiebreaker day. I got to applaud all of the players and teams for putting it out there on the Rift and leaving it all for the fans to enjoy. We have our 6 teams for the postseason. So now for myself, the casters, the entire live broadcast.